Yes, mate, so how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be taking a look at plays for Game Week 20. These include transfer targets you might want to buy, out-of-form players you might want to sell, and even some players you should wait on before making a final decision. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe down below for more FPL content. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
Get strong.
Right, mates, first up is the defender that should be at the very top of your buy list, and that's Anthony Robinson. 4.9 million defender for Fulham, 22.6% owned. He's been in great form this season. He's made 19 appearances so far in the league, 3 clean sheets, 7 goal involvements. All of those have come via assists. He's up to 67 points in total. He got another assist again today. And Fulham just look decent. They've got a nice run of games in now where they've got Ipswich in game week 20, where he's predicted to get 4.1 points, or by West Ham away in game week 21, where he's predicted to get 3.2 points, Leicester away in 22 after that. So I think, particularly for the next 3, I think he's one of the better options. I think you could maybe look at someone like a Castagne, who's a little bit cheaper, a Joaquin Anderson, who's around kind of 4.2, like the same as Castagne. So I think you could look at either of those if you are a bit strapped for cash. But if money wasn't an issue, Robinson would be at the very top of all those Fulham assets. I just think he's class. They sometimes play in a back 4, they play in a back 5 today. I don't think it matters for him, I just think he's meant. Great going forward, great defensively. Fulham aren't keeping as many clean sheets as I thought they would, but particularly over the next 3 is a really good time or a good chance for Fulham to actually start picking up some clean sheets. His key stats per 90 aren't great, because they are conceding chances and they are conceding goals. So his goals conceded per 90 is 1.27, which is about his expected goals conceded of 1.23. So they're about the same. His XG is basically nothing at 0.03, and even his expected assist of 0.13, like it still isn't great, but he just seems to get assists, mate. I don't know, he does it. He just, I mean, like he's got 7 so far in the league. He's class, mate. I think you could play more in game week 23 at home to Man United. I don't think it really matters. I don't think we're playing particularly well. I think he might get something from the game. Even Newcastle away in 24, yeah, they probably concede, but he's great going forward. There's always a chance that he could get an assist or maybe even pop up with the occasional goal. Class. I think if you are looking for a defender around this kind of price range, that 5.5, I think Anthony Robinson is the best at 4.9. I just think it's class, mate. For this next bit, I just want to do something a little bit different, where instead of going through individual players, I've kind of made like a mini kind of watch list, specifically for goalkeepers and defenders for this section, and then later on in the video we've got one for midfielders and forwards. If this is a little bit too much kind of all crammed into one video, please leave a comment down below, and I might even make a new kind of video series just specifically looking at the watch list. And this is just players that have kind of piqued my interest ever so slightly. So and the who's hot side is players that have piqued my interest. Who's not, they're just players that I'm not as high on anymore, or that I've just completely gone off the radar. The first one on the who's hot, and this isn't in any kind of order, is Gvardiol, and it mainly comes down to the fact that they kept a clean sheet today. They look a little bit better. Still not keeping like the underlying data in terms of clean sheets and like defensive qualities, like still isn't there, but they've got a few good games there now where they might be able to pick up some clean sheets, and he's always good going forward. So even the last 5 games, he's got 1 goal and 1 clean sheet. He is fairly expensive at 6 million, but Man City, you have to get better at some point. So keeping him, I'm just going to keep him on my radar, just kind of see what happens. Up next is Ola Aina, 5.1 million, Nottingham Forest defender, and they're just picking up clean sheets, mate, and he just scores bangers. That's all he does. Ola Aina with the bangers. Last 5 games, 1 goal, 3 clean sheets. A little bit expensive at 5.1 million. Don't think he's worth quite that, but they have got a few good games coming up now. They've got 1 good game, I think it's Wolves, and then they've got Liverpool after that, but then they've got a few good games kind of in and around there as well. And they're just solid defensively, and that's the reason why I've got Matt Sells also on the list here as well. I think if you're looking for a goalkeeper, I think it could be Matt Sells. I've only included 1 goalkeeper on the who's hot side. Like, it could be Pickford, it could be Henderson. Henderson's got Chelsea up next, so I'd probably go for Pickford or Sells. I'll look at the premium guys, David Raya, Alisson. But at 4.8 million, I really like Sells. They kept 3 clean sheets in the last 5. I just really like him as an option, mate. Trent on the who's not side, I'm just meh. You know what I mean? Just like meh. 3 assists, no clean sheets in the last 5 games. Hasn't been like he's barely done anything in the last 2 or 3. 7.1 million. He's probably not worth his price, but we all know how good he can be. And when and if he does bang, he's gonna absolutely explode and have like an absolute mega haul. So he's still fine for now. But if he carries on this kind of form, then it might have to be. I might have to take him out because he's just not proving value for money right now. Pedro Porro is just like way down. He's just not keen. Like, I can't believe his ownership is still 25.6, 5.5 million. I'd rather go and get Olena. I'd rather go and get Robinson. I'd rather go and get Milenkovic from Forest as well. Like, there's just better options out there, mate. Bart Verbruggen, ownership's really low. It's like this is just for me personally because I own Verbruggen. Terrible goalkeeper, terrible team defensively. They've kept 1 clean sheet recently, which they absolutely scammed. Yeah, 4.5 million. I'm just going to go and get sells, I think. Moving on to the first midfielder who I think you should buy, game week 20, and that's Eberiche Eze. I just think he's back, mate. Like, looked good again today. Got quite a lot of shots away. People talk about his expected goal involvement. He had something like 6 or 7 shots, like, and he got a goal as well. I think it's so important to the way they play. Like you could look at someone like Ishmael Assar, who's a little bit cheaper. I just think Eze is the better player, the overall general better player, and he's so talismanic for them. Probably not on set pieces, probably not on penalties, but he's just so important to the way they play. He's only 6.6 million, 7.4% owned, 15 appearances so far in the league, 2 goals, 2 assists, massively underperformed his data so far this season, total of 51 points. Some of his key stats per 90 between game weeks 15 and 19. He's getting 4.09 shots per 90 with 2.05 key passes. He's only got an XG of 0.31 and expected assists of 0.12, but we all know good he can be. And if you have got a midfielder that you don't quite like and you want to start moving some money around, go and get Eze, mate. Like, I don't even mind the game in game week 20 at home to Chelsea. Still predicted to get 4.6 points in that game, followed by Leicester away, West Ham away, Brentford at home, and Man United away after that as well. And his predicted points kind of range from 4.4 to kind of 4.9. And that's only because he's not fully fit right now. And he's only predicted to kind of get around 70-75 minutes. If you kind of bump that up to around 90 minutes, that's going to be around 5.5 to kind of 6-ish range, like depending on the fixture. So I think he's great, mate. I think for the quality of games coming up and everyone considering the likes of Ishmael Assar, it has been a bit sporadic and inconsistent in the past. Looking at someone like Eze, who has been so reliable and so consistent over the past few seasons, might be the one to go for. I already own him, and I think he should be in a lot more teams. Moving on to the next midfielder, Bryan Mbeumo, and I think if you own him, and still a lot of people do at 26.3%, 7.6 million, I still think is a great price. I think you have to hold him, mate. Like, he's been a bit hit and miss recently. Like, he's had a couple good games. Fixtures are terrible coming up, but I don't think you can sell him in game week 20 away to Southampton. I think you just have to play him in that, like, regardless of what comes up. And he's been in great form this season. 18 appearances so far in the league. I'm recording this before the game week 19 game against Arsenal. So we'll kind of see what happens in that one. He got 10 goals, 2 assists, 110 points, which is crazy. So his key stats per 90 between game weeks 14 and 18. Terrible, mate, from like a goal scoring point of view, where he's getting 1.4 shots per 90, 2 key passes, an XG of 0.2, expected assists of 0.24. They're massively down from his season, kind of average, like, especially shots and XG. But you can't sell him when he's got Southampton in the next game. Even his really hard game, so Man City at home in game week 21, he's still predicted to get 5.1 points. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think Brentford are good at home, and I think you could probably keep him for that. So even the games coming up where he's got Man City at home in 21, Liverpool at home in game week 22, and Spurs at home in game week 24, I think the fact that all his hard games are at home, it's probably pretty good for him, to be honest. And I think if you've got him, I think I'd probably keep him, and I'd even play him in all of the next 5. I think the only one that you might not want to play him in is the Liverpool at home games, because Liverpool have been so good defensively. But depending on where he plays and who's playing left back or who Liverpool have got available, I'd fancy my chances of Mbeumo, like, up against Robinson or Tsimikas, to be honest. Like, mate, he's class. And put like pluses on penalties, and you never know when penalties are going to come. The last player I want to take a look at before I look at the midfielder and forward watch list is none other than Chris Wood, mate. Like, I've been banging on about him for a couple of weeks now. got a goal and assist today. Absolutely massive for me and my team. 6.6 million forward, 23.7% owned. And I think if you're looking for a forward around this price range, I think Chris Wood is just, I think he's just the obvious one to go for. 18 appearances so far in the league, 11 goals, 1 assist now, total of 106 points so far this season. Some of his key stats per 90 over the last few games is getting 2.35 shots per 90 with no key passes. He's got an XG of only 0.17, and in 2 or 3 of those games, like his XG was barely like non-existent. It was like between 0 and 0.08 or something like that. It was awful. So they have had a couple tough games in there, and I do think this is a time now for Chris Wood to kind of kick on and start getting some goals again. Like, he's got Wolves away in game week 20. Tough game in game week 21 at home to Liverpool. Game week 22 at home to Southampton. Great game once again. And his predicted points range from kind of 4.9 to around 6, depending on whether he's playing at home or away. And I just think he's going to be a great kind of short, medium, like even long-term option. I just think Forest are so good. They're up to second now in the league. I think they're going to keep the form, to be honest with you. I think they'll just keep kind of kicking on. And he's on penalties as well, which I absolutely love. So I think if you are looking for a forward, and in particular looking for a forward around the 6.6 or kind of 6.57 million range, I think even if you're bumping up to maybe, even if you're looking like an 8, I think there's probably only Isak, probably Nicholas Jackson, maybe a couple others that I'm kind of looking at. And then it's probably Chris Wood, to be honest. Like, I think he's better value than the likes of Raul Jimenez and a couple of the other cheaper guys, someone like a João Pedro. Like I just don't see it with João Pedro at the minute. Like, he just looks a mess. Chris Wood, mate. Boring, but good. Moving on to the midfielder and forward watch list for game week 20. And on the who's hot side, first up is Kai Havertz. And I just like him, mate. Like, I know people are looking at Gabriel Jesus and a couple other players, but Havertz has just piqued my interest ever so slightly. 2 goals, 1 assist in the last 5 games, 7.9 million, 10.4% owned. And I think he's good, mate. I think if you've got an Isak and you've got a Jackson, I don't think you could probably afford Havertz as well. And that's where you might look at someone like a Chris Wood or even someone cheaper. But I think if you're looking at someone around that kind of price range, I think Kai Havertz is great. I think he's better than Solanke. I know people kind of rate him, but I think he's better than Solanke. Even Jackson to a degree, who seems to have dropped off a little bit. But yeah, I do like Havertz, to be honest. And with like, especially in the absence of Saka. Gibbs White, mate, he's gone massively under the radar recently. Like, only 6.3 million, 2% owned. Last 5 games, 2 goals and 3 assists. And we all know how good he can be. When Chris Wood's not on the pitch, he probably takes penalties as well, because that's what he's done in the past. And definitely one to consider, like around the 6.3 or 6 to kind of 6.57 million range. I just think he offers great value, mate. And I hope he can keep it up. I hope he can stay injury free, because it's class, mate. Like, he's a really classy player, like an absolute baller. Phil Foden piqued my interest a little bit, mate. I'm not saying I'd go out and buy him at 9.2 million. Like, that's a lot of money. 5.5% owned. Last 5 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. Looks like he's playing a lot more minutes recently. Still don't love it right now, but he's definitely piqued me interest, and he's starting to move towards kind of like the hot side of things, and he might make kind of the transfer targets kind of like a main section of the video. On the who's not side, so who's kind of gone down, like who's colder in terms of midfielders and forwards, and it's all midfielders, to be honest. Antoine Semenyo, 1 goal, 1 assist in the last 5 games. He did get an assist again today, but just don't like the positions picking up. Just like I'm not seeing what I saw a few weeks ago. He's only 5.6 million, so like I'm not saying like if you've got him like you need to kick him out your team and just rip him out, because like he's that cheap. Like, you could probably keep him, to be honest, but from like a transfer targets point of view, I'm just not as interested as I once was. James Maddison, I had him down as a wait a couple of weeks ago, and he's not started the past 2 games, and it's just so frustrating because I don't understand it at all. 7.7 million, like you can't afford someone who's worth that much to be sitting on the bench every now and again. 12.1% owned. His stats in the last 5 games are decent, where he's got 3 goals and 1 assist, but the fact that in the last 2 games, I think he's played something like 20 and 25 minutes in the last 2. It's just annoying, mate. Like, you need your assets to be reliable and to start, and that's not what James Maddison offers. Enzo Fernandez is also on the who's not kind of colder side of things, but he's only 5.1 million. So like same as Semenyo, like if you own him, I don't think you rip him out your team. Like, I don't think you sell him. And it's just down to the fact that they've got some injuries and he's playing the kind of slightly deeper role, and that's affecting his stats and positioning and all this kind of stuff. I think once they do get everyone fully fit again, I think Enzo will start pushing up him a little bit more. I'm probably going to keep him. Like, I don't think it's worth selling him, but I think if you don't own him, like, I wouldn't go out and buy him personally. Still got 1 goal and 2 assists in the last 5 games, but just with the way Chelsea setting up and some of their injuries, it's just pushing Enzo back, and it makes him a less desirable FPL pick. Right, mates, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. So today went from my main transfer targets for Game Week 20. I tried to do something a little bit different with the watch list. If you don't like it, leave a comment down below. Tell me reasons why. I might just kind of move it into a separate video, specifically looking at something like the watch list, alongside this current video of like transfer targets. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do. So do leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed today's video anyway, please subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment down below. Have a good day. Peace and love.